Matt, a couple of days on from going out of the Bristol Street Motors Trophy away to Charlton. I think we agreed on the night of the better side comfortably won. But was it a useful evening in terms of you had you've played a few players in positions where you wanted to look at them and see how it went. So from that point of view, was it a useful evening?
Yeah, it's always the timing of those games is key, and unfortunately, with having quite a few injuries at the moment, it meant I probably went a little bit with the 11 who played at the weekend, and too many, sorry, of the 11 played at the weekend and looking to go this weekend. So you look at Charlton, they didn't have a game Saturday, so they probably went stronger than they probably would have done, and their manager said that in the lead up to the game. Whereas he's been changing his team around, obviously with squad players, just like most clubs do, and we have always done in the previous two seasons. But yeah, it gave us an opportunity with some lads who haven't played too much to get some minutes in. But some good things from us, some good spells, some good chances, and you take them at the right times of the game, at which they fell, and it certainly maybe could have been a bit different, but still, they were a good side and deserved to win on the night.
I was going to say they were a good side, and I've seen some comments they were as good as any side we've come up against this season. So in the end, perhaps the evening's had to be put into context, and you take as many positives as you can out of it.
Yeah, of course, and some of the players that they've got on show, and Lee Byrne, who's being touted around with some massive clubs, who's starting from, and then they bring their record goal scorer, the leading goal scorer on Alfie May, and yeah, they've got some massive club, aren't they? Ex-Premier League. Look at the size of the stadium that we're going to play in an equal football league competition. Like you said to me in the interview afterwards, is a long way away from where the Sutton supporters are used to going on Tuesday nights a few years ago. So yeah, a good occasion in terms of us going to pit ourselves against them. But unfortunately, a little bit threadbare on us against a strong Charlton team, and we don't progress through in the competition this year.
So we put the Bristol Street Motors Trophy to bed now. We look at coming up this Saturday back in the league away to Grimsby, and like last weekend, a side around us in the table, just above us. So an important game in lots of ways.
Of course, yeah. I think you asked me that before the Tranmere game. It's important because it's our next game. We're trying to put points on the board, but yeah, of course, it's away against Grimsby, not far above us. They've picked up some form. For me, a real shock sacking of Paul Hurst and Chris Doig, who I know well, and for what they've done for the club and what they've done in the previous 2 years and in their first season as well. 11th in the league after winning promotion from the National League via the playoffs. FA Cup quarter final with the money, the income they generated is a real shock to me to see them depart, and I found that very sad to hear. So we're going there against obviously a couple of joint caretaker managers now, who obviously know the club inside out, and I don't think they've changed too much since Paul and Chris are gone. But we know we're in for a tough game. It's a tough place to go, Grimsby. They've got some good players, and it'd be a big and loud crowd behind them, I'm sure. And we're in for a good game at the weekend.
I think I might have asked this before, but I think this, without checking, I think this might be the third game in a row where we've played against a side that is either under caretaker managership or has just recently changed their manager. Does that make it more difficult to sort of predict what's going to happen and prepare for the game?
I mean, they've had a few games now, so you get certainly a bit of a feel for what they're trying to do. But no, it's really hard when you have someone just take over or a new manager take over and it's their first game. That's when it becomes get the first game or two. So it becomes when it's really tough. But obviously we've played against Grimsby before over the years. A club I've come across many times and their players. So yeah, we have a clear idea of what they're going to be about.
And should say as well that since the change, I think they're unbeaten. Certainly they've gone well since the change and coming into this game in pretty good form.
Yeah, the two cup games, drew at Slough and beat them at home in the replay. Beating Morecambe at home, and they played very well and came back against Forest Green after being 2-0 down at the weekend. So yeah, they've done well in a couple of league games and the cup games as well, progressing through to the second round also.
Something else we touched on last week, psychologically to get 3 points and move possibly off the bottom of the table and certainly take closer order of the sides above us is a really, really important thing to be looking to do.
Of course, yeah. No matter where it's going to take us in the league, we're just trying to win the next game. And yeah, we've back in training on the Wednesday morning after Charlton, straight away into preparations and travelling up on the Friday, ready for Grimsby. And as I say, the good run that we've been on, and continuing that and putting another good performance in, especially on the road, to go and pick some points up would be great for us.
Now, those at Charlton would have seen Dominic Gate and Rob Milson both come off during the game. What's the updates on them?
Yeah, Rob's struggling. Can't see him being fit for a little while. We've got to find out to what extent. But Dom's not too bad. More on a precaution on that one. So we'll see how Dom is for the weekend. Joe Kizzy and Aidan O'Brien, I didn't want to risk in the game, but I'm hoping that they, not definitely yet, but hoping they will to come through and be available. Dion Pereira coming back from international duty and doing well out there and scoring for Antigua as well. So he's returning for us. Leanne Gold returning from suspensions, why he missed with the other night. So there's a few bodies returning to the squad as well.
And someone like Dion coming back after doing so well, as you say, he scored his first goal for Antigua last weekend. Must be sort of a player coming back who presumably is going to be full of confidence.
Yeah, it's just it is. It's always typical, isn't it?
If jet lagged.
Yeah, you see how he is when he comes back. But, you can't do anything about the international duty, and he's been called up for his country, which is great. But it's sort of a shame because we wish he was playing and scoring for us at the Valley on Tuesday night. So and putting himself right in recognition and taking the jet lag out of it also. So it's disappointing when we do lose players to international duty, but I totally understand, and it's a great honour for them.
But just saying, with Aidan O'Brien and Joe Kizzy both back, so with the exception of the left back, hopefully, and the long-term injuries, hopefully reasonably as strong as we can be going to Grimsby.
Of course, we've got quite a few injuries at the moment, but nothing more to report on that. But from our recent game or two, there's other than the ones we mentioned, there's not a lot more to report.
No. And the other news this week just broke yesterday about Barnsley being expelled from the FA Cup. So now suddenly we find we're facing Horsham next Saturday, and I guess it changes the whole complex of the game, doesn't it? From being if you like, the underdog to being the favourites.
Yeah, and like you said to me just now, because I went to the replay at Horsham, and I think after 10 minutes, I'm standing there thinking, right, okay, we're playing Barnsley, and I'm focusing on Barnsley and watching Barnsley, getting ready for what's coming up, and already doing my research and speaking to people about the game coming up, which is going to be obviously massive for us. And now suddenly, the news breaks yesterday afternoon, and the whole complex of the tie changes, as you say, from pitting your wits against a really strong, big League One club. And us being the underdog, suddenly the roles are reversed, and it's a local side, and I'm sure they'll travel in their numbers, and it will have a real cup tie feel about it, certainly like it did when I went to Horsham for their replay against Barnsley. So they've got a free hit. They're out of competition. They'll be absolutely delighted that they're back in and playing a local league side as well. So I'm sure they'll travel in their numbers, and not a Friday night game, which was unfortunate for them when they had to go up to Barnsley on the Friday and affecting supporters travelling up. So Saturday at 3 o'clock, it all sets up for a really good cup tie, and I'm looking forward to it.
Makes a busy few days for you, I guess, because you've got to almost start from scratch about that. But at the same time, I think we've got an important league game at Grimsby on Saturday, and we shouldn't forget as well, home to Crewe next Tuesday in the league before we start worrying about Horsham.
Yeah, of course. It's the FA Cup seems a little way away at the moment. We'll certainly start getting our preparations in place for when that time comes to really start focusing on that game. But we've got two big league games first, so Grimsby away, and then obviously Crewe at home on the Tuesday. So that's the full focus, is travelling up there and putting a performance in and get a result up there on the weekend first.
And Grimsby last season up there, 0-0 draw. Seem to remember the chances for both sides, but 0-0 probably about right on the day. So looking to better that this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully. Although a point on the road is always very respectful, of course, and a clean sheet and a point was very good up at Grimsby, and I'd never turn my nose up at that anywhere at any time of the season. So a very windy day, as I remember earlier on in the season. A strong wind coming off the sea there, and a very difficult playing conditions, albeit a sunny day. But we'll see what the weather's like, and I'm sure it'll be a bit colder, maybe a bit winter.
Forecast I've seen is very similar, but probably about 20 degrees colder. So we'll
nice, handy, yeah. No, so it's all part of the season, all what you got to do, and go and roll your sleeves up and put in a performance and fight to get those points on the board, and we'll certainly be up for that.
Brilliant. We wish you all a safe trip up to Grimsby, Matt. Thanks for talking to us as always, and we'll see you out there on Saturday.
Brilliant. Right, thanks. Cheers, Tony.
Cheers.